For some people, life is about reaching a destination. But for me, life's all about the journey. And on my journey, there are no speed limits on the road to success. Opening day here at Sunset Speedway, and this will be my first race in my new car for this season, my limited late model.
Opening night when we went into tech lane, we had to go over the scales. It was more for our own understanding of where we were on the track scales. We had scaled it outside of the track, but we got to make sure that the track scales are showing it accurately to where we had the car set up. Kendra has to get in it because they weigh all of the cars with the driver in. And we have maximum left side weight percentages. The higher we can make the left side, the better the car is going to turn left because you're going to have less weight transfer and you're going to be able to have that load more evenly distributed from left to right side.
Okay, you're what? 2835. That's what it's sitting at now. Yeah. So that's an 8 feel? No, we get a little bit.
Honestly, this car is a lot easier, in my opinion, to drive than my Superstock. It handles a lot better, the suspension's a lot better, and just the overall handling of the car is way better than the old cars because they're more advanced. It has a lot more horsepower and it's a lot faster, which is what I feel like I had to get used to the most. I still find myself not even pushing the car as much as it can, and I'm like what's going on? Like I feel like I'm going so fast, but it's just there's that much more left to the car. So we'll show up at 11, 12 o'clock and we will make sure that what setup is in the car and what tires we want on the car for our first practice are on, and then we kind of just hang around. I'll pull my number for qualifying, make sure everything's right, and then we wait until our first practice. We'll change it. If we want to try a new set of tires, we'll change that.
Well, our conversations at the track are getting more and more in depth, and as she's moved up the ladder from the mini stock to the super stock and now the late model, she's able to give me better feedback on how she feels the car is handling, and it seems to be better reacting, or her feedback seems to be better meshing with what the car might be telling us, with the way the tire pressures are or with the way the car looks. So our communication between crew chief and driver seems to be getting a little better and tighter.
I've had a couple practice runs today so far, and I'm excited for qualifying, which is 2 laps fastest time and then line up from fastest to slowest in times. I think we have a good car. Put new tires on it today, and I'm excited to see how it performs in qualifying.
Well, we're going to try and set up we have 2 sets of new tires, and it's new to us. I'm not sure how these tires are going to grow, how they're going to change. When they hit the racetrack and they go through heat cycles, sometimes the sizes change, and we've got to make sure that we've got the right size on the tire because it affects how the car is going to handle. So we're going to run in 2 different sets of new tires, and then we'll size them up, and then we'll make 2 sets that are going to work for when we want to change tires later on in the season.
Just marking these tires up here.
This thing is fast.
What's that, Kenny?
This thing is fast.
Yeah, it is. That's snap-on for you.
friends of my dad's that are also like our family friends. So we have Richard, who always goes to the infield for us and will do anything you ask him to do. He's so easygoing and he loves to help so much. I don't know if I'm allowed to use this gun.
Well,
I'm scared I'm gonna get it too
just quick
tight.
kick him in nuts around.
And then we have Jerry too, who comes around and helps us with everything we need. I have another friend that races, and his brother helps us too. In the years leading up to this, especially when I raced mini stocks, him and his brother would come over all the time. Josh and Brandon, all the time, would help us on our car anytime we asked. They're honestly just really kind-hearted people, and they are always there to help you whenever you need it.
We've set our expectations, I think, quite reasonable, and I don't know if Kendra's are actually the same as what mine are. We talked about it midweek, and I thought, you know what are our expectations this week going into our first race in a late model? And my expectations were to qualify well, and we had different thoughts on what well was. At first, mine was let's just qualify. There might be more than enough cars to make the field, so let's qualify for the race, and let's finish every lap in both features. And my thought was if we're able to run both features from flag to flag, that's a victory for us on our opening night in a late model, or Kendra's opening night in a late model.
Okay, so for qualifying, we want to have a car that's fast as soon as it hits the track. Usually in features, we have a couple laps to like warm up the tires and get everything settled in. But in qualifying, we don't have that. So what we want is a car that turns really well through the center and then is really quick off. So we don't want it to be tight or loose off. We want it to be like neutral. So we can get a good push off, and then we can get on, like the better the car is off the middle of the corner, the faster we can get full throttle.
Yeah. Get the car turned, get it straight, and get it, and you heard what Daniel was saying, he thinks it's a better line, and I don't necessarily disagree, coming straight off the bottom. Get it rotated and just run it up.
Gas harder.
Maybe not run it all the way up to the backstretch wall.
No, not right up against it. Come off pretty low. Get the thing straight quicker. Because if you're higher on the track, you still got wheel in it. So
Right.
because you don't have to worry about anybody passing you, you could even take a higher line coming in, but make sure you get it down. So it's like a later apex.
Okay, yeah.
Essentially, you're making the straightaway longer. And by having longer straightaway, you can take advantage of that built motor. Right?
Yes. Get after it. We missed something. Well, that's a better lap. Get her rolled up. Come on. You know what? That's better than a lot of them are.
Oh, yeah.
5.7. Not bad.
And Danny and Brittany and the other rookie. I have to go tell Mom.
Okay, go tell your mom. We ended up with a really good qualifying effort for our first time out. 17th, 18th, in a field of 21. So for our first time qualifying, real happy with the results. We got 35 laps to settle in, and I think once she gets some laps under her belt, she's going to run some better times. And I think we can maybe even improve on her starting spot. If we end up top 15, that's a wonderful night for us. If we get all 35 laps in, that's going to be our starting point. So real excited. Nice to get the first part of the night over with, and we'll see how it rolls off in the future.
secrets in racing is tire strategy and using your tires effectively.
So as you know, with late model tires now, we're on slick tires, right? Slick tires mean there's no grooves. Like your normal street tire has grooves and sipes in it. Slick tires mean there's no grooves. That's just about maximum traction. You have literally this much of a tire to get to the track at a time. Very small tire patch, and those grooves create air pockets, and it's less rubber on the ground, means less traction. So we run these tires. These are an 8-inch Hoosier Slick. And basically what we try and do is stagger the tires on the race car. And what I mean by stagger is one side of the car will have a larger circumference of a tire than the other side of the car. And it's kind of this, it's basically like a Coke bottle. You take a Coke bottle and you roll it on the ground. The smaller end of the Coke bottle will always go less distance with more rotation than the outside. It's the same philosophy on a race car. What we're trying to do is get the car to turn left while it's actually pointed straight. Helps the car through the corner. So what we do on the late model tires, we run between 3 and 3.5 inches of stagger on the back of the car and a little bit less on the front. The back is the most important because it's what's driving the car. So the right rear tire will be a larger circumference around than the left rear tire. That's only kind of the tip of the iceberg though, right? I mean,
No, of
on the
course.
front of the car, we're gonna see, as we walk over to your race car here, we're gonna see camber on the tire. The biggest difference that you'll see from side to side is one is leaned in and one is leaned out. And we do that because the track has a banking. And we try and get the tire patch, that little bit of tire again that we talked about a second ago, into the track as much as we can. If the tires were straight up and down, there wouldn't be as much tire patch on the asphalt itself. So let's walk over to the car and show them what we're talking about. This is the right front. And when the car's on the ground compressed, it's actually quite a bit more of an angle than it is here. But it's leaned in this direction with the top in and the bottom out. The left front is the exact opposite. And it's a little bit more exasperated with the car hanging. But the top is out and the bottom is in. And that's so that when you're on the racetrack and the track is slanted like this, more tire patches into the ground. The other thing we need to talk about is tire strategy. Because here at Sunset Speedway, we get one tire a night,
One
right?
tire, yep.
So what do we do to maintain tires, Kenny?
You gotta save your tires for your first feature and make it to your second feature. And some people they'll put on 4 every 4 weeks.
Every 4 weeks, yeah.
Right? Or some people will rotate them.
Yep,
You
do
know?
1 a night or 2 every 2 nights.
Yep.
The right side tires always run more than the left side tires because when you're taking a left-hand turn, the amount of load on the right side is much greater than the left side.
Right.
So they wear off much quicker.
Especially that right rear.
Especially the right rear. That's got load plus it's getting energy.
Yeah.
So all it wants to do is spin and break loose. The whole process of the whole point of the race car is to stop that back end from coming out. The faster you can go without the back end coming out, the faster the race car is.
Definitely.
The other part we need to talk about, I think, as far as tire strategy goes, is I always kind of, when I'm driving a race car, imagine there's like a line that goes from my head to my foot. And if you hit it too hard, right, the car will light up, get sideways,
Yeah.
get loose as we call it, will burn the tires off. We can't do that. We have to be nice and easy, like an egg
Nice
under the
and
throttle,
easy.
right?
Yep.
Egg under the, you've heard that a few times.
Heard that a couple
That's
times.
right. Egg under the throttle, we maintain our tires better that way. And that's kind of the whole point of tire strategy. You gotta get your staggers right, you gotta get your camber right, and then you gotta keep them on the race car.
Still to this day, I feel sick to my stomach and really, really nervous every time I line up for a race. And then basically until we get double file and we're like about to take the green flag, I feel sick to my stomach and nervous. And then as soon as we take the green flag, I don't feel that anymore.
I'm a little more anxious than I thought I would be, to be honest with you. I know the anxiety and the nerves from when I was in the driver's seat years and years ago only came about when I was about to go on the racetrack. But as a crew, as the father, as you know, Kendra's dad, I'm very anxious to see how things are going to progress throughout the night and throughout the year. So I'm certainly a little nervous, and I don't want to make the wrong choice and decision and talking with her to make a change in the car that's not going to help her and make it, you know, worse than it was. So we both have different perspectives, and definitely as a father though, car aside, all that other business aside, I'm very anxious to make sure that things go well for her tonight. And I just want to have a good clean night, finish all the laps, and I'll be happy extremely happy as her dad, and if the car performs well, I'll be extremely happy as her crew chief.
My dad last minute calls inside. I didn't come down for the corner as I normally would. I kind of like arced it, and then it gives somebody the position to go underneath me. So that's me leaving the spot open. Somebody went to the outside, and I hadn't realized that somebody was outside of me while I was giving room to the inside. So I kind of went up into that car, and the person that went on the inside is going in for the spot. So they're obviously going in faster than they normally would, and we kind of all just got together. And after that, you kind of just got to keep calm and then keep hitting your marks and get your spots back. I think the race went really well. We finished. We had a really good run, and we actually ended up passing some cars. We ended up passing a few cars, which I actually didn't really expect, to be honest. I actually, that race was the first time I had ever actually passed a car in the late model. So it's really exciting. And this car has the built motor in it, which my Super Stock didn't. And I can really feel it when I go to pass people underneath them, which is really a big advantage.
Working as Kendra's spotter up in the spotter stand, my job or my goal as a spotter for Kendra is to let her know what's going on basically from the helmet back. I mean, she's got her own eyes, she's got her own hands and feet, she's driving the car, she's steering the car. She can see what's going on in front of her. My job is to let her know, is somebody coming up inside, is somebody coming up outside? Because with the containment seats and the full face helmets and the safety equipment that they wear these days, it's very difficult to see what's going on beside you. So I have a lot of nicknames for Kendra. It's usually Kenny at the racetrack, a lot of Buddy on the radio. If you hear that footage when I'm spotting with the radio, I'm sure all the spotters in the spotter stand hear me talking. I can be pretty animated in the spotter stand, and I think I talk more than all of the other spotters combined. But she enjoys that. I mean, by no means am I driving the car. Only one person can drive the car, and that's the person in the car. I'm just giving her more information than I think some other people do with their drivers, and she's comfortable with that. So the more comfortable Kendra can be in the car, or Kenny, or Buddy, or whatever I do call her that day, I think that's better for all of us. Don't worry about the car.
Awesome job first time out. Fantastic. You beat all the guys you need to beat, and you showed everyone you can run with these guys all day, every day. Yeah. Awesome job.
all good. Okay.
Part of it?
It's a part of it. What?
Is that part of it?
Yeah.
Expect that?
Yeah, this is, I gotta expect it.
When it comes to safety, and I've said this for years, I believe you're far safer at the racetrack in a race car than you are in your truck or in your car driving to the racetrack. These cars are purposely built. They're extremely safe. You're surrounded by a roll cage. You're in a containment seat. You've got a fire suit. Kendra wears a Hans device, head and neck restraint, helmet, gloves, and everybody's going in the same direction. So I honestly believe that you're far safer in the race car than you are even driving to the racetrack.
So Daniel, my driving coach, is a teacher. That's simply put it, he's a teacher, and he knows how better than anybody else I've talked to, even my number one teacher, my dad. He knows how to phrase stuff to say this is what you need to do, or this is what you're feeling in the car, that's why, or this is why, or this is how to fix it. My dad could tell me the exact same thing, and I'd be like, what are you talking about? That doesn't make any sense. But he's not a teacher in that way.
I can tell Kendra something, and she gets it because I work with her. She gets it because I'm her dad. But it doesn't necessarily mean the same coming from me as it means coming from someone like Daniel Bois. He can also look at things and see things differently than I do and offer a different perspective. And I think a big part of it was getting Kendra mentally prepared for the challenge, both on the racetrack with the other drivers and the adversity you may face depending on how things go out on the racetrack.
Okay, then neither do you, Sam, because...
Get in, get ready. I'm going to check your tire pressures. Now remember, 35 laps. You may lose a spot or two, but then we're going to get it because you're a long run car, okay? Oh, get in the car. We got to go.
I think I am a very much of a long distance driver. I'm not quick to make aggressive moves. I'm not quick to find a spot or make a spot for myself. I like to wait everything out, and I like to make sure I know, okay, this pass will be completed, or I know I'm gonna be up to their door. They know I'm gonna be there, and there's not gonna be any gray lines because I don't wanna spin somebody out. I don't wanna get spun out. I don't want any wrecking to happen. I wanna make my pass clean, and I try to make that happen. So during that race, there was a lot of cautions. I think there was 3 or 4, which after, so I started near the back, the field will kind of break apart, and I'll pass a couple cars, a caution will happen and bring us all back together, and it lets me catch up to the next group. I'll pass a couple cars and there will be another gap, another caution will come. And that's kind of how I think I made all those spots. I got really lucky. After I passed a couple cars, I'd get a caution and I was back up to the back of the next group. I think that the longer green runs, are also beneficial, but if you fall off the pace or if you fall off the pack in front of you, there's really no way you're going to catch up to somebody when you're less than a second slower than them. They're less than a second faster than you. There's no room to make up when you guys are so close. So you kind of really have to just let everything play out, and hopefully you get a caution when you need it and not when you don't. Really fun to race against this class of people because there's so many talented drivers, and you can really see where you line up and what you need to do to be like the past track champions. There's so many friendly people in this division and so many people that are willing to help you that it's not like a competition. It is, but these people are always here to help you and always here for questions and stuff, so it's really nice racing with the people that I race with.
Thank you. Awesome. Yeah, I think that was 10th, buddy. 10th place. Awesome. Unbelievable! What a night! What a race ride! When you were rolling those guys, that was fantastic.
I thought I was gonna get Bentley, but I didn't.
Great racing. Oh wow! Nice work out there, buddy. Nice
Changing
work.
the motor.
Are you? Season goal. With a season goal, that's just awesome. That's awesome, Kenny. So proud of you. So proud of you. Great job out there. Great
I don't
job.
want to put it
And
down
lap
on
after lap.
everything right now, but this is what happens though when you go into the next race.
I'm gonna expect a 10th, and then when I don't, but don't expect.
But don't expect anything. Just expect to keep learning and keep getting better and keep feeling. Just because the position is 10th now, if you finish 11th next week, don't be upset
It
with
could
that.
have been even better race.
Yeah, just you're learning everything. Like you learned a ton tonight
Yeah.
racing those guys.
No, I
And the biggest thing in my mind out of everything was I think you gained some respect.